Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel, and in this video we are going to continue our series on Spring Data MongoDB. So in my previous video, which is this one, introduction to Spring Data MongoDB, right? We discussed about how we do the initial setup in a Spring Boot application, what is the dependency that we should add, and basically how we can connect to the MongoDB. And we have seen by just fetching few of the records, right, or entire collections from the MongoDB, right? So that was the whole intent of this video, which we already seen. So if you have not seen that video, please go ahead and watch this video and then only come to this video so that you will understand. Okay, so because it is a continuation of that the same thing. So today's video will continue with how we can perform some CRUD operations, right? So in previous video we have seen how we can fetch the data. So in this video we'll see how we can basically insert the data to MongoDB. Okay, and at the same time I would like to start the geolocation features, right, that I was talking about. So basically my focus would be more on the geolocation feature which comes by default from MongoDB, right? So in this video, let me start putting some coordinates data, right, or location data, so that will try to insert it to our MongoDB. Okay. Okay. So without wasting time, let's get into the detail. So if you see, this is one of the API, right, which is public API. Okay. It is something OpenStreetMap where we can specify one location and we can get the details. So if you see here, I have specified one location which is Gachibowli, which is there in Hyderabad, India. And if I try to hit the API, I am saying here format is JSON. So I'm getting all the relevant details over here. What is the place ID, then license, OSM type, other details, right? Along with that, if you see, I'm getting the latitude and longitude, which is the most important thing which I was looking for. Because in MongoDB, right, based on this longitude and latitude only, it can perform some calculation or some algorithm, and it will give you the capability for geospatial related operations. Okay, and other details like what is this type server, or the display name is Gachibowli, ward number 105, and other details. Okay, so what we would be doing, we'd hit this API from our Spring Boot application. So write one integration point here, right? And then get the data and store it to our MongoDB. Okay. So as part of this video, I have done some pre-work so that I will not waste time into consuming this API and all those things, right? Which you might be already aware how to consume one REST API and all, right? So let me show that as well. So in previous video, we have already enabled this enable Mongo repository, right? And then in application properties, we have specified all our Mongo URI, and we don't have username password in my case, so it is not there, and the database is local. Okay. So okay, let me show you what is the integration part I have already done, right? Let me go to the integration service. If you see this service, right, here using REST template, basically I am hitting that particular endpoint, and I have created one controller over here. So I'll be passing as a location over here, okay, which is nothing but one path variable. So location slash v1 slash location name, and then I'm calling this service method, right, where basically I'll hit the endpoint and then get the response and return it back. Okay, so that part is already taken care. So let me just show you that. So this one, right, if you see, this is openstreetmap.org, but if you see here, I have it. Okay, this is localhost 8080, which is running on my system. So I'm giving Gachibowli, and I'm not taking all other details, whatever I'm interested, right? I have created one model where I am fetching all those details, right? So if I change this to something else, let's say Texas here, right? You can see it will return list of location as well, because Texas is a state over here, let's say address type. And here if you see even county, Texas county, right? So that is the reason it might return multiple list as well. Okay. And if you see in my integration package here, I have a model created where I'm mapping all those details that is being returned from OpenStreet. Okay, based on this key and all. Okay, so usually here we can have in camel convention and put JSON serializer, serialized name and all, right? But okay, our focus is on MongoDB, so let's don't get into that. And next step, right? I have already created my domain model. So what I am interested is I am interested in place ID. Okay, we'll talk about this GeoJSON point later. I'm interested in place ID, type, place rank, what is the address type, what is the name and display name. Okay, that should be enough for now. If you see the name, display name, okay, and type, whether it is server, urban area or something, then place ID, then this longitude and latitude. So there is a GeoJSON point. This is a different object or different type itself, right? If you go here, there is one thing which is string type and list of coordinates. So I will discuss about what is GeoJSON and all these things in my next video when I will get into the geospatial functionality and all. But for now, longitude and latitude, right? Whatever it will, we are going to store that in this particular list, and type will be point for now. Okay. So let's, this is already there. Now, even I have a mapper created in my util package, right? Which will take the location here, street map location, and give me the location type over here, okay, which is my Mongo collection type. If you see here, I have specified the document collection name is location data, okay, and there I haven't yet specified ID, right? So let me specify ID over here, okay. So place ID basically we should take as a unique identifier for our location data, right? So that is what we have done, and basically getter setter. So now let's so we have this location data. Now next step, right? What we have to do is we need to create Mongo repository. If you remember in our previous video, we have created user details repository, right? Not only the model is enough, you need to create one repository, then only you can do all those CRUD operations like create, read, update, and delete, right? So let's do that. We'll say location repository.java, okay? And it is one interface, okay? Just remember that, and you need to extend Mongo repository, okay? At the rate repository stereotype we should specify, and here you need to specify what is your domain model for this. So our domain model, which we already discussed, is nothing but location, and what is the ID type, which is nothing but string in our case, right? If you go over here and see, okay, sorry, this is long, so we need to specify here as long type, okay. Let's change this to this one, okay, and here also. Always go with the wrapper type, that is better, okay. And in location repository, instead of string, we need to specify long here. So now that we are done with our repository, right? Next step, we have our service already created, but there is one more service which we should create where we are going to call this method to get all this list of OpenStreetMap location, then map it to our domain model, which is nothing but this location data, and then store it to our MongoDB, right? So let's create one more service over here. Let me just quickly create one service which I'll say location service. Okay. And first thing we should do service stereotype. Okay. Then we need auto-wide OpenStreet adapter, which is the other thing we would be needing over here is our location repository, right? Because we are going to store the details once we receive from here, right? Okay. So what I'll be doing, public list of location data. So what we would do here, we'll get the location detail from that particular endpoint, which is the OpenStreetMap, store it to our MongoDB, and return it back to the client. Okay. So that is the reason I have my return type is public list of location. I would say load location data to MongoDB. Okay. And here location name should be enough, right? So we need to import this. Okay, create interface. What is the issue? Why it is showing here result to a type? Okay, let me do one thing. Okay, it's public class location service where we'll have list, which is java.util.list. I think you need to search for it. Location, which is nothing but our domain model. Okay. Sometimes you won't get it, so you need to search like that. All right. So now let me call this OpenStreet adapter dot. We have let's specify this as private only. Okay, and let's call this method. We have get location detail, right? So location name. Okay. So this will give me list of open street map location. Okay. List of street location. Street location list I'll be getting over here. Maybe we need to do a return type over here. Let's say for now, let me do it null and see if What is the issue over here? Cannot be resolved to a variable. Just mention public. Okay. Okay. So now I think we need to iterate this street location list, right? Let me iterate, and I'd say street location over here. Then okay, now we have street location. What we need to call is, we have already one mapper, right, which will take care of mapping this location, right? If you see over here, what it will just take the street location and then convert it to our domain model location and give it back, right? So let's go there and call this particular location mapper dot map to location dot apply. We need to give street location, right? And this is going to return us location. Okay, so before that, what we have to do, right, it might return us a list of location. So what I have to do, I just need to create one location list. Okay, new array list. Okay, let's import array list, and what we have to do is we need to add there location list dot add. All right, so till here we are good, right? We are adding this, we are iterating over here, and we are adding this to this particular location list. And finally, what we have to do, we can just uh, location repository, which we have already auto-wired. Then there is one method, right? Save all. So in this case, we want to save multiple location data, right? So for that, save all method we have to call, and already we have this location list, which might contain one or basically list of location that it is going to store. So if you see in this repository that we have created here, right, we don't have any method. It is just one interface, which is we just declared we extends to MongoRepository. But in my previous video also, I was talking about this. So we have all these methods, right? Insert. Definitely we should have. So let's say we have save all and all. If you see this Mongo repository, again it extends list CRUD repository, and there are other repositories. Similarly, this will have CRUD repository. So if you see in CRUD repository, we have this method save all, right? So all these methods are using proxy pattern, right? By default, this implementation Spring Data Mongo is going to provide you. So you no need to write the boilerplate code or that particular logic to store the data to MongoDB. The moment you define the model, Spring Data Mongo will understand, okay, this is the ID, these are the field I have to map and I need to store. Excuse me, okay? So let's try this out, okay? So I'll explain more detail when we'll have another CRUD operations and all, but for now, it has all the methods, and with the help of this repository, right, we can store the detail, okay? So in this case, if it is just single record, we can just mention save. If it is multiple, that is the reason I have used save all, okay? And once that is done, what we have to return is location list, because this is what we are going to store it to our MongoDB as well, right? Okay, now my class is ready, okay? This one is So to test that, right, let's go over here, and instead of calling that from my controller to OpenStreetMap location service or adapter, I can call this location service which we created recently, right? So we'll say, and the type will be list of location. Okay, let me just restart the application and see. All right, it was able to start the application. So let me go to Postman, and so this is where, so I'm going to specify location as Gachibowli and hit this particular endpoint, which is nothing but my localhost 8080. Okay, before that, let me show you. So the location data, that collection I have already created, and this is just empty collection. Nothing is there, not even any schema is defined over here, right? So the moment, and if you see here, it is location data, my collection name. So whatever the details I have here, it is going to insert in this particular collection. One thing you need to make sure, the collection name, location data, and location data over here should match. Apart from that, it is no SQL, no schema basically. You can define schema, but it is schema-less, right? Even if you don't have any schema, it is dynamic. Later also you can add anything. So currently if you see nothing is there, the moment we load, then data will come and then we can see, okay? So let me hit this particular endpoint and see. Great. Now you can see, right? Place ID 5801240, then location type, as because we have in GeoJSON format, this is a point and this is the coordinates, which is nothing but 78 point something, which is nothing but longitude. This is latitude, and type, place, other things are there. Let's go to our MongoDB and verify whether it got inserted or not. Okay, you can see here, right? Earlier it was empty, but now we have the data with the location detail with the coordinates, longitude and latitude, right? Okay, let's do one thing. Let's, this is single record, right? Let's put something where we'll get multiple record. Let me put Manikonda where I might receive list of, okay, good. We are getting list of data over here. Let me put Manikonda and hit send. So this is going to fetch the API, get the detail, convert it to my location domain model and store it to my MongoDB, right? All right. Now it is done, and if I refresh, you can see here, right? We have all these records. So earlier only one record, but with this we faced another 4, so total 5 records. Okay, so this is how I think we can insert it, and it is very much faster as compared to the relational model and all. If you see, just 562 milliseconds where we fetched all the details from one API and then we could store it to our MongoDB as well. Okay, and let me just give you a glimpse of what is location type, right? So if you see here, uh, this location type, why I created in this model, unless you create in this way, right, MongoDB will not understand that this is a special type, which is of coordinate type, right, or geolocation type. So to see that, if you come over here to schema and click on analyze, the location type is there, right? So this is not this, why it is showing, see, for other things it was showing something else, right? If you see here, class, address type, all this detail it is showing the data in a string format. But why it is showing as a map over here? Because it has the longitude and latitude detail, the location type, right? So if you see all these places, it falls under Hyderabad location, right? Whatever Gachibowli, Manikonda, and all I mentioned, exactly it is pointing there. Okay. So if I zoom little bit and if I see these few locations, right? These three locations and all, or whatever, let's say four we have, this is able to locate all the details in a particular map view. Okay. So this is what we are going to discuss. This capability of MongoDB, right? It has all these features. It can, based on the coordinates and all, right? It can locate or we can perform distance calculation between two different points and all those things, which we are going to discuss in our subsequent videos. Okay. Yeah, but for today's video, I just wanted to cover this, how we can store data to MongoDB, and I just wanted to get started with some location or geospatial feature of MongoDB. Okay, that's all for today's video. I hope you guys might have liked this video. If you liked it, please do press the like button and to subscribe to my channel for further such videos. Yeah, and that's all for today. Thanks for watching the video.